Okay, brothers and sisters, I wanted to. This is from one of the greatest all-time books, especially now, of the current prophetic writings, Last Day Events, Ellen G. White. And you got to get her PDF and her husband PDF, life experiences and life sketches. Also, their great great grandson is Charles White, and you can find him online. His messages are wonderful, and um, and the one I knew Ellen White. There's three of those, and you can find that, and it's glorious. And there's another one that mentions the, for example, HMS Richards mentions he was a little boy, and she was speaking in, I believe, in Colorado, and it was a huge assembly. It was like I think 3,000, and with people further out in the tents and so forth, and a terrible rain came, and God did a miracle with Sister White. Uh, her voice expanded, and everyone heard the message through the rain, and there's no end to the miracles. And I wanted to just read a couple of chapter titles to spur you on a little bit from the Great Controversy. You've got to get the Great Controversy, but also this one here, Last Day Events, and the book Heaven, and so many others. There's one called Education that will, and see that the our true economy is the land. That's our true economy, and the proper cultivation of the land is what is the intelligent cultivation with heaven's help is so important, has is been so important. But we've been turned away from agricultural thing. Oh, it's better the lower class people can be involved and get all the machinery. You won't have to be involved too much and just be in a plush sheet. Plus, you'd be up in the cab with air conditioning and a nice, comfortable seat and everything. Okay, and then you know about what they did the in the Midwest with Farm Aid is they came to the farmers because they wanted to turn farming more into a corporate situation. So they came to the farmers with all this new equipment, all the big track, all this stuff, and they said, "Look, we've got a special deal on prices for loans and so forth, and this will help uh, you'll be much more efficient." And they get have all the information with them, and then a lot of them go into it, and of course they said, "Oh, the prices are strong, the markets are going to be good for years and decades," and what happened? The prices dropped, and a lot of those people lost their land because of those evil loans, and um, and then Farm Aid happened, and to try to help out. So what it was a land grab, and this is serious. It's not no jokes, and 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 these people, all that have been involved in every subversive project, all that do not repent 100% will be in that lake of fire. Okay, here, chapter 27, modern revivals, extremely important. Oh, a work of reform. Um, okay, facing life's record. That's the investigative judgment. The origin of evil, enmity between man and Satan. Agency of evil spirits, chapter 31. And you can go, and then this is the next chapters. Snares of Satan, the first great deception. Can our dead speak to us? Spiritualism, extremely important. Liberty of conscience threatened. Um, the impending conflict. That's where we are. The last few pages of that, chapter 36, and it depends on the version. Sometimes it's 37. The Scriptures, a safeguard. Incredible chapter, that one. The final warning. That's what I read. That's what I read from the Revelation 18:4. The time of trouble. God's people delivered. Desolation of the earth. The great controversy ended. and indexes. It has indexes in there. And in the indexes, they do mention about the Society of Jesus, exactly what it is. It's no secret. From all time. This is from way, way back. And the first version of this is called Early Writings, which I love. It's a small book, and they're very short chapters, and they are powerful. This is the expanded version. As well, okay, I'm going to read from, this is Last Day Events, some of the highlights. All right. And there's also many things to kind of deceive the people, keep them in the regular corporate churches. See, it was incorporated in 1980, and there should not be a union of church and state. That's clear. It's a clear principle of true Christianity. The time is near when, this is page 111, the time is near when large cities will be swept away, and all should be warned of these coming judgments. This is very serious. It's time to get out of the cities, no matter what. We've had the warnings all along to not live in the cities, but there is a need for some work in the cities, for like health food restaurants, for little chapels, and perhaps other things, but not to live in the city, to live outside the city, out in the country. And you can work in the city and so forth, if need be, save people in there. When God's restraining hand is removed, the destroyer begins his work. Then in our cities the greatest calamities will come. It'll be worse in the cities. And they can be closed off, where you can't go in, you can't come out. And the prophetic writings, current prophetic writings, mention that there's going to be problems regarding food and regarding profits on food in the cities being shut up and so forth in the end times, and that's right where we are. God is withdrawing his spirit from the wicked cities, which have become as the cities of the antediluvian world, and as of Sodom and Gomorrah. Costly mansions will be destroyed without a moment's notice when the Lord sees that the owners have passed the boundaries of forgiveness. The destruction of fire by the stately buildings is supposed to be fireproof, as an illustration of how in a short time Earth's architecture will lie in ruins. That happened with 9/11, basically. These buildings will share the fate of the temple in Jerusalem. And why? Because they were completely subverted. And she is anxious. It says, I'm so anxious for our cities to be warned. The cities full of transgression and sinful in the extreme will be destroyed by fire, earthquakes, fire, and flood. The judgments that have already come are a warning of the punishment that will come on wicked cities. And there's a lot of homosexuality in the cities, and of course every evil thing, and they're hotbeds of wickedness, of sin. Some souls will yet break away from the delusions of the enemy and will repent and be converted. The spiritual darkness that covers the whole world is intensified in the crowded centers of population, and there's been a project to move the people into these big cities and stack them and pack them. The third angel's message is now to be proclaimed where multitudes dwell unwarned and unsaved. Okay, right here. Schools, churches, and restaurants needed in the cities, but not to live in there. Don't live in the wicked cities, because it's like Enoch. Those that live in the country and they have the power of the Lord with them. They can be great witnesses in the cities and everywhere that they go. But if you live in Babylon, you're not going to be a witness. okay? Because you're in the same situation as the rest of the people. The assumption of power on the part of our nation in the decree forcing the papal Sabbath will be a warning to us. It will then be time to leave the large cities, preparatory to leaving the smaller ones for retired homes in secluded places among the mountains. Problem is now they know all the spirit of prophecy and the Bible as well. Although the Lord, with the Bible, the Lord will not reveal the deep truths of the Bible to those that are seeking incorrectly the truths there contained. Spirit of prophecy is more clear. They work all against it. Now they're restricting movement. So they closing down even in rural areas. They can be restricting movement of people as the saints left the cities and villages. And we've had the warnings since 2015. We've had clear warnings inside Adventism that they denigrated the spirit of prophecy by changing one word in the statement. They denigrated it basically completely, and that was a hidden thing that they did at the big meeting in 2015, and that's prophetic. And the prophetic writings say when the spirit of prophecy is rejected, the end is extremely near, very, very near. So that was our warning. We've had it. And for all the world, including the Adventist world, in 2015, the Pope came to the UN, and every single president was there. I think 178 countries roughly. And every single one said, okay, we're online 100%, whatever it takes with the climate change, regulations, laws, whatever it is.